Hi honey, how are you? It's Teknikolour. I have another speed build for you. This time it is a mid-century modern cabin in Copperdale. Let's check it out. So here's the thing. I actually have no idea if this can technically be classified as mid-century modern. I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you think, but regardless, I built a really cute house in Copperdale and I want you to see it. I want you to see it. By the way, if you are coming from my previous YouTube video where I did a giveaway for the newest The Sims 4 kits, Riviera Retreat and Cozy Bistro, the winners are either out now or will be out shortly, depending on how long it takes me to pull the winners. But this video should be going live at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And I think that's around the same time that the winners can be pulled. So I will be commenting on that video. So if you're here for the results of that, I'm filming this yesterday. Time is weird, y'all. But we are going to have the winners of that very shortly, if not already up. I will comment on that YouTube video and I will reach out to the winners from there. And if you entered, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more Sims content, again, I post videos every single Wednesday and stream The Sims every Tuesday and Thursday over on my Twitch channel. But right now we are currently building on Bridge Creek Drive in Copperdale, and I had a lot of fun building on this lot. I wanted to do a mid-century modern build because I kind of want to start challenging myself when it comes to what I've been building. And I feel like I've sort of been building the same sort of thing for a while. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I'm not that familiar with mid-century modern. That's kind of why I said, I don't know if this is classified as that. So don't come for me in the comments, honeys. But I wanted to try something different, and to be honest, I was kind of inspired by one of my friends. I feel like I've been mentioning him a lot in a lot of these videos. One of the builders in The Sims that I am friends with is Nick Simulations, and I know that he does a lot of mid-century modern sort of builds, and I kind of wanted to do something that had that sort of idea, because that's not how I normally build. I don't even know what my style would be considered. What would you say? I don't know. I try to build just whatever feels right to me, and honestly is probably what I would live in. So I like a lot of dark wood. Sometimes I like modern. I don't know. I know my boyfriend doesn't really like modern, so I probably can't have too much modern. Like, my boyfriend does not like gold, like, at all. He doesn't really like any gold accents. He doesn't like anything like that. Like, the fact, I don't know if you can really see it, but back here it's like a golden whale tail. People on my stream actually thought it was a horn. It's a whale's tail, but it's gold. I like gold accents. Is there anything else in the room that's gold? I have lamps. I have bedside lamps that you can't see. They're right over here, and those are gold. But other than that, we can't have too much gold, because he's like, oh, I don't like that. He actually begrudgingly agreed to us buying this whale's tail, because we actually have a matching one that is more silver, and that's above this bookcase back here. I don't know. Also, something that I've realized is whenever I'm building in The Sims, unless I'm gravitating to a color like on the outside, I tend to do blacks and whites. Is that weird? Like, I like that look. Like, this is a very dark building, and then it's also got like the pop of white for the chimney, but typically the builds that I end up loving look like this. My favorite builds that I've ever done in The Sims, other than like one that was blue, they're usually just painted white. Is that boring? That's probably really boring. I don't know. But I wanted to do something different with this, and you can see that I started mimicking I think it's from Eco Lifestyle. I use a lot of Eco Lifestyle in this build, but there's those straight lines on the door, and I wanted to recreate that. So I used a lot of that near some of the windows. Actually, I think it was like 2 windows. I don't know where I'm getting off saying it was a lot of it, but I used a lot of brick. I used a lot of like concrete. I used a lot of wood. And I use a lot of like natural sort of colors, I guess. Mostly just when it came to the wood. I don't know. Also, y'all are gonna lose your minds. I decided to use the terraforming in this. Is that what it's called? Or am I just going back to my Animal Crossing New Horizons days? What is it called? Terrain. Oh my God, I did terrain manipulation in this. I had to look at the screen. I used a lot of terrain manipulation in this because, I don't know, for whatever reason, this build sort of just screamed that it should kind of be hilly. And as you can see by how long the terrain manipulation has taken me and how many times I came back to it, I'm not very good at terrain manipulation. Actually, I had competed in a building competition and the judges constantly wanted me to do terrain manipulation. And every single time that I don't know, I just felt like every build that I did, it didn't really warrant the terrain manipulation. So I just really wasn't sure what to do with that. And here I feel like this one, for whatever reason, it just felt like it needed it. So there's even a pool. I don't know. Maybe I did the wrong thing here. I think I ended up having the backyard be flush with the actual ground outside the lot. And then around like the left side of the building, it started to sort of go up the hill there. And I think there's actually some parts that I realized after I uploaded that sort of that, like the designation, like the border of the lot, you can see it now because of my terrain manipulation. But you know, onwards and upwards, you gotta get better. You gotta start somewhere, but we all will improve. And I think I did an okay job with the terrain. I don't think it looks terrible. I did struggle with like I feel like I struggled in certain spaces and I wasn't really sure how to adjust the terrain. So I kind of just tried to slope it as much as possible. So it was like kind of like a gradual thing. It took me a while to get to that realization, but we got there. We got there in the end. But I knew that I wanted this build to, on the right side of it, like basically when you come in the door, I wanted you to be greeted with a dining room and then a kitchen. And then on the left side, I wanted there to be a fairly large living room, like an entertainment space. And then behind there, I wanted there to be like the staircase and a little walkway. I don't really know why I wanted there to be that pathway, but I knew that I wanted there to be a side door. It's really close to the front door, so it doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense, and the door to the backyard is actually like right in the dining room. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't make the most sense the way that I designed this, but it just sort of felt like that's how it was all coming together. And then in the back I ended up putting an office and I put a bedroom. I also had like a bathroom that also led into a laundry room. I don't know if that's weird. I don't know. I feel like I had a cousin who there was a bathroom, I think, off of the laundry room. I don't know. It's been many years since I was in that house, but that's basically what I decided to do. Also with the backyard, I knew that I wanted some of it to be kind of like paved. I wanted it to be like concrete or like some sort of flooring. However, I struggled. Or I guess I should say I struggle. You know, the new Riviera Retreat, the wallpaper and the flooring tile, I feel like whenever you put them together in a room, it just looks kind of crazy. Like it looks really chaotic. And I couldn't figure out what the heck to do to it. How do I get this to work? Everything that I did, it just looked weird. And I wasn't sure where I was going wrong. And then actually, I think it's like at the end of the build, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's meant to go in the pool. You must be looking at yourself like, Tech, really? But I feel like everyone that I've seen, their builds, they're not putting it in the pool. They're putting it in like a bathroom or something. And sometimes it just looks a little strange. I couldn't figure out like why. But it looks really good in the pool, let me tell you that. I tried to use as much of the Riviera Retreat kit as possible. We weren't really going to get the Cozy Bistro kit fit in here. And this build wasn't really focused around either of those kits to begin with. But I knew that I wanted there to be like that sort of like sleek, cozy backyard. And the Riviera Retreat paired with the... What is it called? What is it? Oh my God, I just had to look it up. I could not remember the name of the Desert Lux kit. I kept saying Modern Lux, and I was like, that's a different kit though. I ended up getting there. The Desert Lux kit, which was free at some point. That's how I ended up getting it. The Desert Lux kit paired really well with the Riviera Retreat kit, I felt, and specifically in this backyard. I think because I wanted it to be kind of like this like mountainy, I don't know. What would you call this? I feel like I've been calling it a cabin, and it's probably not cabin vibes. I don't know, but it's like sort of like a mountain area. That's kind of like what I was getting from here, even though I don't necessarily know that Copperdale fits into that, but I don't really build in Copperdale. So I really wanted to do something different. And I don't know, I really enjoyed building in Copperdale. I think I would build in Copperdale a lot. I think I get a little unsure sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what lot to build on, and specifically what world to build in. And I feel like I always want to try Copperdale, but every single time that I start looking at all of the lots, I feel like the lighting is just weird. But every single time that I visit Copperdale, like in gameplay, I don't get that same vibe. So maybe I just need to, I don't know, suck it up and just go and start building, because I did that here and I really enjoyed it. I was also getting really stressed out when I was building this. It's kind of been very busy for me lately, having to set up the giveaway that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. That was very intense because, for those of you who don't know, I'm in the EA Creator Network, and thanks to the EA, I was even able to do that giveaway. But it can be very time consuming and very stressful trying to figure out that you're following all of the rules that you need to be following. So obviously there's rules that EA sets, but there's also like local and like legal rules that you have to follow. So just trying to make sure you're following all the rules and making sure it's a fun giveaway and that people will even want to enter it is, I don't know, it's a big deal. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the best way to do that giveaway, and then making the YouTube video, which was to showcase the 2 new kits. And then this week is actually, on Friday, is my boyfriend Cinnabon Andy. It's his birthday, and I don't even have all the presents for him yet. I don't know what to get because he doesn't even know what he wants. Oh my God. And the stuff that I've come up with, I don't know. I'm hoping he wants. I feel like he wanted them at some point. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But I feel like I have gifted things to my boyfriend that I'm like, oh, he's gonna love this. And then he doesn't. There was one time, this is how I always know that I've been bamboozled when it comes to my boyfriend and like gifts for him, is we had been in Best Buy, and I don't even know if it still exists, but there was this thing called Nintendo Labo. So there were these, I don't know, you could like buy something and it would do something with your Nintendo Switch, so you could make certain things, or I'm not explaining this well at all, but basically the thing that I got him was kind of like a 3D game viewer, so you could make your Switch kind of 3D, I think. So you kind of like put it in this box thing that you create, like all of it was created out of cardboard, and it kind of makes it like, I don't even know if it's 3D. It's kind of like, I don't know, those like portal things. What is that called? Is it 3D? Am I losing my mind? It's like, is it alternate reality? I don't know. I sound crazy, but it was like one of those things. And I got that for him, and he was like, oh, like kind of like shocked by it. He's never opened it, by the way. I got this for him like maybe like probably more than 4 years ago, and he has never opened it. Also didn't return it, so I don't know. But he was like, oh, what made you give me this or whatever? Like, do you want to know? Do you want to know? We were in Best Buy and he was looking at it. I'm going to say for like 45 minutes. He was looking at all of the Nintendo Labo stuff, and he was looking at that one specifically for the longest time. And I was like, oh, what's that? And he was like kind of explaining it to me, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, because it didn't really appeal to me. And he was like, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool or whatever. He has no recollection of this at all. But I, like, in the moment, I was like, I have to get this for him. This seems like something that he would love. So who knows? I've gotten other things that I know that he's loved and maybe not necessarily was something that he was thinking he wanted. So who knows? Who knows? Boyfriends are hard. But anyway, talking about this build, you can see now what I was talking about with like the wood tones and like the modernness. So specifically, something that I decided pretty early on that I wanted to do was I wanted to use that weird couch from Growing Together. It's kind of like weird, like egg shaped. It's like this like swoopy thing. And I always gravitate towards the leather couch from Growing Together because I think it's really beautiful. But I wanted to use this one and I wasn't really sure how to fit it in. I don't even know if it's considered mid-century modern. I don't know, but I went with it. I also struggled for a really long time. I don't even know if I kept it in the speed build, but I actually reached out to one of my friends, Tiny Snub. So if you're watching, Tiny, hi, how are you? But I asked Tiny for help because for whatever reason on the second floor, the roof was like clipping in to one specific wall tile and I couldn't figure out why. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work. So no matter what I did, it was going to clip in and I was going to lose my mind because I wasn't sure how I was going to cover it. There was no other way to hide it because like it was like at the top of the stairs, you wouldn't have been able to do anything. And I was getting really frustrated and Tiny was like, upload the build to the gallery. And I'm like, it's not done yet. I've never done that before. And she was like, just do it. She was like, it's driving me crazy. I need to know why it's doing that. So she went in and she figured it out. And literally it was the stupidest thing. You needed to drop like 2 roof pieces that were like right next to each other. Drop those down like 2 slots. And then I think drop the one that was like right across from them down like 1. And then it was no longer an issue. So make it make sense. But I ended up getting that fixed, which thank you, Tiny. But while I was doing that, I was losing my mind trying to figure out what to do with the living room and what sofa should I use. And then once I decided on that, I could not decide what chairs looked good with it. I still don't even know if the chairs I picked work. I don't even know what chairs I picked, come to think of it. And I just watched that part. But I was sending like options to Tiny and I was like, none of these are working. And then I put from, I think it's Ego Lifestyle, the dumpster. And Tiny's like, probably not that one. But I was just like losing my mind. I don't know, I'm really proud. The Cozy Bistro kit, I did end up using it. Just portions of it. I used some of the artwork and I had them like leaning up against the wall on top of the bar. And I think it just looks really good together. I kind of want to use that more. I think it looks really good. I think it looks really good. Also, it's so funny when there's like certain packs or kits that you might not necessarily think that you would use that often. And then you end up using all the time. Like for instance, I'm obsessed with that weird like wall feature from Spa Day. It's like this like wooden structure with candles on it. It's also really irritating because it doesn't go against the wall. So like, how are they standing up? So I always have to like scoot it as close to the wall as I can with tool. I don't know. You could also see with the, with that entryway in the back, like that side door. Again, it doesn't really make sense to have the side door there, but I felt like it would have been missing if I didn't put that. I ended up using the Cozy Bistro kit again. So I used those 2 lights over a sofa from the Book Nook kit. And I used some art as well. I really like this area. But something about this area that is infuriating to me for The Sims in general is I feel like there's not enough runners. And I feel like the designs that we have for runners are so out of the realm of something that I would use, and it it just drives me crazy because like, I think the ones that we have, I think one might be base game and the other might be seasons, but I don't remember 100%. We also have like some weird modular one that we can use from, I think, vampires, but again, that's not really the vibe either. Can't we just have something plain? Like, can't we just have something plain in a bunch of swatches? Is that too much to ask? I feel like Cats and Dogs would have given us something like that, but they didn't. So we need something new. If you are collaborating with The Sims or if you work for The Sims, give us some cute, plain runners, please. It's all I'm asking for. I want to use them way more than you would expect, and then I usually just go without it because nothing works. Unless maybe there's a pack or something that I don't have that has really good runners. What do you think? Because I don't know. Also, I have to say, I fell in love with The Office after I built The Office and I was taking photos to post on social media. I liked the way that The Office looked, but it was just like, all right. I wasn't like obsessed with it or anything. But when I was taking photos, that's when I realized that you can see like the amusement area in the high school years pack, Copperdale the World. You can see all of that. Like you can see the Ferris wheel. You can see it is just framed beautifully in this window. And oh, I just thought it came out phenomenally. It just looks amazing. And then the room behind the office, I kind of made as like a guest room, I guess. And I think that one came out really nicely too. I wanted to use a lot of the like concrete sort of style, and I don't know. I really liked using the two windows here. And then I think again I used the Desert Luxe kit for the curtains, which I never really know how to use. I feel like every single time I try to use the Desert Luxe kit curtains, I feel like I always end up doing something else because it just never quite works for me. And I think it came out really nicely. I think it looks really good. So I was very proud of that. It took me a while to figure out what window I wanted to use. And then once I did, I really liked it. I really like the windows from Eco Lifestyle. I feel like the plain ones that I'm using at the front in the dining room and then in the living room, I feel like people tend to use those a lot. And I know that the other styles that we got in Eco Lifestyle are bulky. Like it's really hard to use them successfully, I feel. And I don't even know that I use them successfully here, but I think they're beautiful. The only thing that I wish was different about windows like this, because we also have one very similar, how it like juts out in the laundry day kit. And that window I'm actually using in my current legacy house. But here's the thing, it's still not technically considered inside on that ledge, and you can't snap anything to it. So you know how like there's that, like the window juts out, so there's like a huge window sill. You can't slot anything to that windowsill. And you can tool something or like alt place by really struggling and fighting with it. You can actually get stuff on there, but if you're in an area where it snows in that world, they will have snow on them. Not the windows in general, but whatever you place on that like windowsill, because there's nothing that slots to it. And it's just really infuriating. And I feel like the only way that you would be able to avoid that is if the roof piece overhangs enough so that it would technically still be covered. But in my case, every single time that I've built something like this, that's not the case, and that's not how it ends up looking. So I don't know. I feel like they could be really difficult to work with, but I don't know. Unless maybe it's a bug. Could it be a bug? Because now that I'm thinking about it, I used these Eco Lifestyle windows in my Foxbury University dorm build. And I had stuff slotted onto that windowsill that I don't think ever got snow on them. And it snows in Brightchester. So now I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe I'm losing my mind a little bit. Here's something that I really struggle with a lot is that sometimes I feel like the rooms that I make are either too big or too small or just the right size. I feel like I'm turning into Goldilocks here, but basically what I'm trying to say is sometimes you can make a room that looks really good, but it's too small when you get to gameplay. And sometimes you can make a room that's kind of big. Like I would say that this bedroom that I'm working on, the primary bedroom, I feel like it's really big and there's a lot of extra space. But I feel like if I were to build something like this, I would be so happy that I would have this extra space, because then you can put in things that you've gotten from Father Winter, or you have won as rewards or whatever. There's so many times that I want to add to my builds, and I feel like there's not enough space to do so, and I would have to get rid of things. However, I feel like when I build something like this feels like the right amount of space to have, but it ends up being, or it ends up looking too large and kind of like open. Am I crazy? I don't know. How do you feel about it? Because I feel like sometimes my builds that I've made for my actual legacy, I feel like sometimes they're a little too tiny, and then I struggle to fit things in because I didn't leave enough room to grow. Does that make sense? I don't know. Again, you can see towards the end that I start doing a little more terraforming and trying to decorate in landscape was very difficult. And I think that that is probably the reason why I don't really terraform. Do people wait until the very last minute to terraform? Maybe it's not something that they do at the beginning of their builds. I did it at the beginning, and then I felt like I really struggled to landscape. So I wasn't really sure what to do with like bushes or trees or like low laying flowers and stuff like that. I wasn't really sure how to decorate around the terrain manipulation. And if I didn't have the tool mod installed and I didn't really know how to use it, I wouldn't have been able to do any landscaping because they would have been like floating and stuff. And you can see here that I end up needing to like de-elevate. I don't know if that's a word, but using the elevation in the tool mod to sink things down. And I don't know that it necessarily looks the greatest because I don't really know how to handle landscaping on something like this. And that is probably when I started to lose a lot of steam in this build. I was like, I don't really know how to adjust this to make it look as if it's gonna do what I want it to. I don't know. I should also probably mention, speaking of my legacy challenge, my legacy gameplay, I do that every Tuesday and Thursday mornings over on my Twitch channel. If you'd like to follow me over there, you're more than welcome to. It's just Teknikolour over on Twitch. I'll drop my link down in the description below, but I love my legacy family, and now is a perfect time to come join if you're interested, because we are about to start Generation 6, which is going to take place in San Myshuno. It is going to be my city living generation. Basically, for my legacy challenge, I created an Around the World's Legacy Challenge with my boyfriend, and each generation is focused around a different pack and the gameplay surrounding that pack. So for instance, our first generation was growing together, and then parenthood, and then our second generation was Discover University with Brightchester. So Generation 6 is starting with city living in San Myshuno, and my heir, Gemma Wyndham, is going to be exploring everything in the city, and I can't wait to start playing with her and having her live in apartments, because I feel like I've been looking forward to apartments because I've been enjoying building each of their houses, and now is the first time that I feel like the gameplay is dictating what their home is going to look like. So Gemma is going to start off in one of the undesirable lots, we'll say, one of the apartments that's not that great. And then eventually she can move out into a nicer apartment. And then after that, she can, if she can afford it, she'll have a penthouse. And I don't know. We'll have to see where it takes us. I don't really know. But anyway, we are nearing the end of the speed build right now. So why don't we jump into the game and I can show you around a little bit. So here we are in Copperdale on the Bridge Creek Drive lot. And this is my mid-century modern build. I really like having this sort of exterior deck. So you have the front door over here, and then of course you've got that side door back there. And then the second floor has these windows over here. And the first floor has really no windows in the back until you get to that guest room. And then on the other side, you have the backyard. And this uses the rocks from the River Retreat kit. And I think it all just really pulls well together between the Desert Luxe kit and the Riviera Retreat kit. So I don't know. I really like it. And then there's this little deck off of the dining room. But let's look inside. So here we are. We've got the living room over here. And I love this little bar area. And then behind here, we've got that little walkway. You've got a little area for music here. I like having this like glass divider into the dining room and then having that peek through into the kitchen. I think the kitchen came out really nicely. And then of course you've got this downstairs bathroom with the laundry access. And then this guest bedroom, I feel like came out really nicely. And then here, of course, is the office. You can see the Ferris wheel and the amusement park from the world. I feel like it looks really cute in the window. You come up these stairs and there's kind of like a little drop-off area here. And then there is the primary bedroom with its ensuite bathroom, but it's got like basically wall-to-wall windows and its own little closet back here, which I don't know if this door works the way I expect it does. And looking at it now, it might hit into it. I'm not really sure, but if it does, pretend like it doesn't, or just move it over a little bit. But that is basically the entire build. I really love the way that this one turned out. And I don't know, I might start building a little bit more with terrain manipulation. I thought it was fun. I just feel like the landscaping is really hard to figure out. So if you have any tips with that, please let me know down below. But if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you want to see more Sims content but live, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. But I will catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.